Finally tonight, the revival continues. It's been a year of campus, private, and in some cases, an international revival. Pastor Sam Rodriguez is with us tonight, and if you didn't see it, he's been quoted recently saying he believes this country is on the verge of an awakening, which he traces back to the Supreme Court's abortion ruling last summer. Already, there are 5,000 fewer abortions each month. The pastor said something was unleashed. It's been redemptive. It's life, abundant life, this call for the unborn. Welcome back, Pastor, to Centerpoint.
Thank you for having me.
So what is that something that was unleashed following the Dobbs decision?
Let's do the math. Let's do the math. It's not spaghetti on the wall. After the Dobbs decision, this year, what did we experience? The year kicked off with an NFL football player who dies. Live on national television, two teams coalesce, gather around him, begin to pray. With medical intervention, Damar Hamlin comes back to life. The day after, ESPN broadcaster interrupts a live national television program for the first time to do what? To pray. To pray. Right after that, the same identical demographic deemed as the most non-Christian demographic in American history by Gallup and Pew. It seems like God never got the memo. Asbury, Kentucky, God shows up. Young people can't stop praying, reading the Bible, repenting, and worshiping. Right after that, a movie that was supposed to have made approximately $7 million, my friend Greg Laurie, the Jesus Revolution movie, over $50 million in box office receipts. Right after that, we're hearing from all around the country and around the world, my friends in Australia, Malaysia, and Europe, this Easter is now deemed arguably as the most highly attended Easter Sunday service in history. Hey, do the math. 1 + 1 + 1 +. God is up to something. Watch God show up. America's mess and the world's mess is becoming God's miracle.
So it's been a rough several years, internationally, of course, but certainly here in America. You know, people were locked down because of COVID. The economy right now isn't that great. High inflation, depression, mental illness, violence. I mean, the list really goes on. Have we kind of reached the bottom? And if so, is this now where the rally begins, where the good comes out of the bad?
Sure, it's Newtonian laws, right? On spiritual steroids, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So yeah, I agree. I believe morally, culturally, socially, we have really gone down the proverbial rabbit hole of just anarchy, chaos, despair, and hopelessness. All of a sudden, God shows up. Let me biblically substantiate this. I get some pushback. And the pushback I get is, hey, Sam Rodriguez, Pastor Sam, that's very optimistic. But we're living in the last days, Mr. Sunshine. We're living in the last days. I'm totally aware of 2 Timothy chapter 3. I read the very exhaustive list the Apostle Paul lays out, and Matthew 24. I'm cognizant of the fact that in the last days, people will become lovers of themselves. That's called narcissism, and half the accounts on Instagram. So I understand every single item there. But there is a last day promise. What is it? In the last days, this is God's promise now. Not I might, not I hope to, not I wish to, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. We are living in the last days. We are about to see more people saved than ever before in American history. We are about to see an awakening that will make the Jesus movement of the 1970s look like a dress rehearsal.
So you mentioned the narcissism with some of the younger generation. It's kind of a battle there, right? Do you think that it is a generational gap right now where maybe some of the younger generation is feeling like something better has to happen because it's been kind of bleak, and that's where the revival is going to be the most generated from, versus maybe the older generation where it's like, you know, we've kind of seen it all. Let me just have a glass of red wine and watch Netflix.
Totally. Well laid out and accurate, by the way. Yes. The Pinot Noir and the Netflix or the Prime Video, at your discretion, we don't judge here, whatever it may be, that sort of myopic worldview is very, let's just say, nihilistic, right? But I'm a fan of the emerging generation. Did I just say that? I am. That generation everyone is writing off, especially in Christendom. We're about to see a generation rise up really, that will just take the mantle of righteousness and justice, truth and love, and emerge as societal architects and cultural reformers. I really believe that. In the political sphere, society, faith, technology, the medical field, you name it, we're about to see beautiful young men and women rise up, created in the image of God, fully committed to advancing the Lamb's agenda for such a time as this.
Let's talk about the Roe v. Wade decision that went by the wayside with the Dobbs decision by the Supreme Court. Definitely at the polls over the last year or two, it could be a factor of why Democrats have won certain races. Do you think that the pro-life movement needs to alter some of their tactics, if you will, in politics? In other words, how do you combat what's happening from the so-called pro-choice groups?
Yeah, the pro-life movement did a wonderful job, and I mean a wonderful job, obviously, the outcome, right? And thankful for the previous president for filling the Supreme Court with the necessary individuals to have resulted with that very powerful prophetic outcome. With that being said, the pro-life movement missed it in capturing the meta-narrative post facto. They permitted this hijacking of extreme, inaccurate rhetoric where the pro-life movement has zero concern for women. It is this sort of just continual overload of restrictions and lack of clarity regarding the morality and the freedoms of women. We need to just, once again, redeem the narrative, give life to the pro-life narrative in a way that's reconciliatory, not just pro-baby, but definitely pro-women. I would argue the pro-life movement in its essence is the greatest feminist movement on the planet. And we need to say that outright and then substantiate it, not just biblically, but morally and through our legislative pieces.
So we've seen the revival on the campuses, and even the mainstream media had to cover it. But we've also seen this now in Hollywood, in the entertainment industry. And you're part of that. So tell us what you're working on right now.
Listen, we're working on a film called Flaming Hot. Watch this. It is the Christian film. It's called Flaming Hot. Hey, I'm from California. Don't judge me. No, but it's called Flaming Hot. It's the guy who actually invented Flaming Hot Cheetos, Doritos, you name it, all the Flaming Hot little potato chips and things that you use. That's him. And it came through a conversion experience. He received Jesus, an uneducated young man regarding schooling and so forth, a gangbanger, and experiences a radical conversion, life transformative moment. Jesus becomes the Lord of his life. His wife prays for an idea that will get them out of poverty, and there it is. That's how Flaming Hot emerged. Great story. If you take Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith and you put it in a Christian blender with comedy, you will see Flaming Hot. Let me give you a testimony. Here it is. TBN, no one else has heard this. Disney picked up our film. That's an exclusive right now.
Wow.
Disney picked up our film. I haven't shared this with anyone. Disney picked up our film, so it will stream on the Disney platform, a faith and family film on the Disney platform on the 9th of June, and it will stream simultaneously on both Disney and Hulu. Eva Longoria directed the movie. It's the Richard Montaner story, and by the grace of God, I'm the executive producer. So there it is, Flaming Hot, the 9th of June.
We can't wait to watch it. Pastor, we appreciate you coming on Centerpoint.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, that is it for Centerpoint tonight. For everybody here, the great crew, I'm Rob Astorino. Have yourself a great night.